Welcome to Dr. Walls and Friends Live here in Rodney Bay, St. Lucia at the Blue Hotel. We are on the Sisters in Harmony Network and Africa TV1. And I am joined here today with someone who we talked to on Dr. Walls and Friends, the radio show. But now that I'm here, I get to meet her in person. Yes. So this is Dr. GALE RIGOBERT. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, and yourself?
I'm great. I'm just so excited to finally meet you in person.
Oh, me too. I'm glad you made it.
Yes.
I'm sorry about the rain.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll take a little rain. This is what keeps us inside sometimes. It's all right. So now reintroduce yourself. As I was saying off camera, so many times people hear us on the radio and they go, oh, we wish we could see the people who you're talking to. So now you get to see one of the people we talk to. So tell the people about yourself.
Hello. Hi, I'm GALE RIGOBERT. I'm from the eastern village of Nikud in St. Lucia, where I spent much of my childhood before moving on to tertiary education in Trinidad and Tobago, the University of the West Indies, the St. Augustine campus, and then onward to the UK, where I did a Master's of Philosophy in International Relations. And I stayed on for a while, youthful exuberance.
Okay.
And I returned to Trinidad incidentally, where I taught for 7 to 8 years.
Wow.
In the areas of government and international relations at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. And that was a very rewarding experience, I must say.
Okay.
At that point, I think I got to appreciate that there is so much focus on the print in books and not living the experience of learning.
Yes.
You know, that there was this overemphasis on examinations and grades and certification, and there wasn't enough dialogue and exchange and discourse.
Yes.
And after having spent some time in the ivory tower, as we say, I thought I should come out and breathe some real air.
I heard that. With the people.
Yes, yes. I was seconded to the government of St. Lucia for 1 year as advisor to the then Prime Minister. That was in 2010. And during that year, I learned a lot.
Okay.
I learned a lot. I got to see a lot of what I've been teaching.
Yes. So
it was the best juncture of practice and theory, what we call praxis. And it was literally an eye-opener because, you know, there's an assumed understanding when you've lived the theory, you know, and having to walk the talk, so to speak, was really enlightening. And curiously enough, just when my secondment was about to expire, a political opportunity arose.
Oh my!
So my then MP resigned maybe within 2 months of my contract coming to an end.
Okay.
And I was one of about 4 or 5 prospective candidates. So I made it through as a chosen candidate. So I moved from academic to advisor to politician in space of 1 year.
Wow! Wow!
And that was exhilarating.
Wow!
Exhilarating. I don't know that I was ever prepared for it.
Really? You know, it's interesting because as you're talking, I often talk to people about making that bridge between theory and practice. And I mean, you really kind of did a swan dive into practice.
I know. I remember my first political walkabout. It was in a neighborhood not too far from where I grew up. And I was in shock. Abject poverty. And it gave me a reason. I think it spurred me on. It was depressing.
Yes.
But I thought, this is why I'm doing this.
Yes.
This cannot continue. There's a better world out there. There's a better life to be had. And why not be the gateway? Why not be the one to facilitate that?
That's beautiful.
So I think I moved very quickly from being depressed to being energized and with a real conviction that I need to do this.
Yes.
And it's been interesting. 2 years in, and I went through the election process. And it's interesting because the other 2 political candidates were women.
Okay.
So it was a three-way race of two of the women, so that proved to be rather interesting. I must say, I had committed to ensuring that the campaign would be different because it was women and we want to know better, I think.
Yes, yes.
And I'm satisfied to the extent that it was not your everyday kind of campaign. I think it was relatively clean.
Okay.
For me, that was very important because I made my first public appearance. I said, I'm going to win this election and I'm going to win it by remaining clean and sticking to the issue.
That's wonderful. So you were able to maintain your integrity.
Exactly.
And your
That
morals.
was very, very important to me. I don't think it's important. It's necessary at all to have to take away from anybody else so that you can elevate yourself.
Yes.
So I thought, very often I have to explain to my campaign team, if you've got a good product, just sell the product.
That's
you don't
right.
have to compare it to anything else.
You don't even have to sell it. When it's a good
speaks for
product, it
itself.
speaks for itself. It's the absolute truth.
So the election process was very taxing, emotionally, physically, psychologically.
Yes.
When you're in politics, you are singularly involved in politics. You can have all of the support. You're still left with your emotions, your thoughts, your fears, your concerns, your anxieties. It's a very lonely process.
Yeah. I've talked to several different politicians and they've talked about how your life becomes politics and also your family's life becomes politics.
It takes up so long.
Yes.
It's one of the things I've had to reflect on because it was a childhood dream of mine. Subconsciously, I was always preparing myself for it, but I don't think my family was prepared for it.
Right.
And it really did take a toll on my immediate family because it can get nasty and people can be cruel. They can say some very mean things.
Yes.
But I've always known that's what I wanted to do, and so I developed that back.
That shield.
Exactly. That Teflon coated shield
Yes.
on top of that.
Yes.
So it really just slide off, but I don't think my family had the time to prepare. Literally, they had 7 months to prepare.
Right.
So,
Because you're talking in 1 year.
yes, from April to November.
Exactly.
That was it.
Wow.
So I remain apologetic for that. It still weighs me sometimes. Like, why did I get through this? It was worth it. But there are days when I feel very convicted that
Okay.
this is what I need to be doing.
Well, let's take a pause here and we'll take a quick commercial break and come back. I hear you talking about passion and purpose that you've known from a very young place. So let's pick up when we come back.
Sure.
All right, and we'll be back after this commercial break. First and third Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. It's Dr. Walls and Friends. First and third Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. It's Dr. Walls and Friends. We are inspiring, encouraging, and motivating you to live your passion and purpose too. So join us from 8 to 10 p.m. right here on Dr. Walls and Friends. First and third Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. It's Dr. Walls and Friends. First and third Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. It's Dr. Walls and Friends. Welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends on the Sisters in Harmony and Africa TV1 network. And so we're talking here with Dr. RIGOBERT, and we were just talking about passion and purpose. And you said you've always known that you wanted to be in politics.
Yes, and I remember when I did my first degree, after the first year, I did a course entitled Public Policy Analysis. I'll never forget this. The lecturer, I must have gotten a B+, so he pulled me aside and said, why did you get a B+? You're an A student. And I thought, I'm finding myself, I'm in youthful exuberance again. And he said, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this degree? And I said, because I want to get into politics. I've really just come to the degree, so eventually I can get into politics. He said, well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, you just wasted 2 years of your life.
Oh no!
I was so deflated. I'm thinking, what's that all about?
Yes.
Because I thought you had to go to school, arm yourself with the requisite subject areas,
Yes.
get the exposure. But I've come to appreciate what he meant, though, truth be told. But I've always known, and I've also always been told as well.
Interesting.
Everywhere I've ever been, I've ever spoken, it's always been said, oh, you go to Harvard. Okay, what is this?
It was an internal call that you had, and also something spoken over you.
Yes, and in fact, last week I was in Trinidad and Tobago. I spent most of my tertiary years, and it's funny, I met my first tutor, political science tutor, and he said, I will never forget the first time I spoke with you. I said, okay, where is that going? I was like, oh my God, where is this going? And he said, you're exactly where you told me you would have been in 1993.
Wow.
In this year, 2013, you are exactly where you said you would be in 1993.
Wow.
Oh my God. And that's why I say to young people, dream.
Exactly.
Dream it, think it, live it, believe it, work towards it. It's going to happen.
Tell them again. Look them right in the camera. Look them right in their face.
Dream indeed. You dream it, you believe it, you live it, you prepare yourself for it, and it does come into being. And that is so very important.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because start with visualization. You ask for divine guidance, ensure that you're in alignment with your divine calling, and
That's right.
it works.
It really does work, because very similarly, I knew very early on that I wanted to do television, I wanted to do radio, and that I wanted to be a psychologist. And so I knew that, and by knowing it and identifying the path to achieve that, the distractions that came were not going to be long-standing, because I had a goal that I needed to achieve.
You knew where you were headed.
And I knew where I was headed. Exactly.
It matters, and sometimes one of the things that I'm most affected by is children who dream in spaces where there isn't even a reason to dream. I am really always touched by that.
Yes.
I think that's one of my reasons for being in politics. That you can say to people who ordinarily shouldn't dare to dream that you can.
That's right.
You can. You think it. You believe it. You work towards it.
Yes.
And call it into being.
Exactly.
And it's important because the beauty of this island is that we're socially upwardly mobile. We can boast of that. Since the banana crisis, maybe it has slowed a little bit. But in my 40 odd years, I can boast that I have seen families bail out of poverty in 2 generations.
That's wonderful.
That's fantastic.
That
Not many
is.
societies can say that.
That's right.
They would have gone into poverty. They would have been born into poverty, and by my generation, they have produced lawyers and doctors.
Yes.
That's something I think that the society should be very, very proud
They
of.
should be, and it should be something that's raised up into people's awareness, so that children, young people, even I say older adults who want to make sure that their life is fulfilled and fulfilling, that at no point stop dreaming, at no point stop working towards those goals.
I discovered that in teaching at UE that I have students upward of 65 years.
Yes.
And I always appreciated having them in class because they have the wisdom of having lived through the years. So they may not know the theorist or the year or the data, but they've had the experience.
That's right.
And they can match that experience with what they're now discovering in the literature. And always made for a very rich discourse.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Cultural Heritage Month. Sure. And I know you have many things to do today, so we're going to let you off the hook, but we want to make sure we highlight this time.
Sure, thank you.
All right,
Absolutely.
We'll be back shortly on Dr. Walls and Friends.